What problems does that present to a defense when you have guys that can do different things and everyone does everything well?
Yeah, I mean, you can spread the field out. They can't just key in on one guy and man up everybody else and expect for their guys to lock them up. I mean, they have to be aware of multiple guys out on the field, so that's good for the offense.
You look at this game this week against Miami, and the one thing that you can say about them is they compete. Like, you watch the end of that game against Philadelphia 2 weeks ago, they were fighting and clawing and trying to knock away every pass, or even if a guy looked like he had a catch. What do you see on film when you watch?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of young guys out there, and it's pretty tough because I know there's some that are on the injury report, so you don't really know who's going to be out there. Just what you said. I mean, they're going to fight, they're going to scratch, so we have to come with our A game.
Well, the Giants are back at home Sunday at MetLife, while the Dolphins will be playing their second consecutive game at the venue after coming off a close loss to the Jets last weekend. So my first question for you, I'll start with you, Howard. What is the matchup you've got your eyes on this weekend against Miami?
Well, it's those no-name receivers in Miami versus the Giants secondary. Can Fitzpatrick find a way to do what every other team has done and throw deep balls against the Giants secondary? I'd like to see the Giants secondary step up. I'd like to see him make some plays. I'd like to see him make Fitz magic for the Giants.
Well, it may not be Fitz tragic, but I'm going to tell you this. The Giants are going to have to defend the run and the short passing game because that's what hurt them late in every game, and they've got to be able to stop it. So you can look at the back end of the defense. I'm going to look at the front six because they're going to have their hands full.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if the Harvard grad will know not to throw it deep.
Well, they're going to have to make him Fitz tragic.
It's tragic. All right, both of you guys leaning on the defense here. I mean, Miami is without Devontae Parker and Albert Wilson, both of these guys questionable with concussion. So Howard does make a good point that, those receivers are going to be having to step up. But my second question for you is, when you look at this matchup, where do the Giants have the biggest advantage? Carl, I'll start with you on that one.
Well, it depends on what quarter you look at it, Madeline, to be honest with you. Listen, I don't think there's an advantage. When your team is only 2 wins in and you're playing another bad team, it's the advantage from play to play. And your only hope is that this Giant team can execute from start to finish. It's a game, it's a week-to-week, play-to-play proposition.
I think the advantage actually could be the running game. If the Giants decide to run the ball and just stick with it, it might be 3 yards, it might be 4 yards, and then it could be one that could be popped out of there by Saquon. They could have the big advantage in this game. If they choose to throw the ball and put the quarterback at risk, whichever quarterback it may be, then that's on them. I think you have to run the ball against a team that's bad. You can break their spirit and break their sword early. You can change the outcome of the game.
You can do anything if you put your mind to it, right? Until you don't. And that's been the story.
Okay.
We know Ryan Fitzpatrick's going to play loose and fast, and he's going to take chances whether they're there or not.
Yeah, he will, Bob. And this really comes down to a commitment to your fundamentals and your technique. This play will be nothing special, but what they want to do is isolate your free safety. What you have to do as cornerbacks is to make sure that the safety's job is clear and defined. So we'll take a look down here at the bottom of the screen, and when I tell you, you put your safety in a bind by not defining the technique. Let's take a look here. The wide receiver just releases off the ball, and he's on top of the safety. So when you've got a safety who's got to watch, he's got to have vision here, he's got to have vision there, he's got to play the most dangerous guy. To make his job easier, you cannot give this receiver a two-way go. You've got to declare right away that you're going to force him to release inside so that the safety can see him right away and play the most dangerous. Because he just backpedals off the ball, the release is inside and the safety can't get there and you can't help him.
And we're looking at a Miami Dolphins team that runs the ball only about 34% of the time. Second lowest percentage in the league, Atlanta, is the fewest. So do you kind of underemphasize the run when you're the Giants defense, or do you always got to stop the run first?
Miami's going to run the ball. I mean, they're going to find some way to, churn out some yards to keep the Giants honest and not be able to pin their ears back. You don't want to get caught flat-footed, not being able to stop the run.
You have a 3rd and long situation, and we're watching it up in the booth calling it, and it looks like you got a perfect play dialed up. Now, the TV announcers had another opinion on the play as to why you would call that on 3rd and 13. But we're going to show that play here, Coach, and just talk about the mindset of the flea-flicker here and why it was the right play. You didn't get the result, but why it's the right play.
But before you do, Coach, the mentality of the Sticks defense here is to discourage, right? They're telling you, we're not going to give you anything here.
Right, and so the ideal for us was they're not going to really let you in rhythm throw the ball over their head. They just kind of cushion all the deep routes, and we present 3 of them here, right here. And what they've done is they've done a good job on 1st, 2nd down where they're just going to make you throw something underneath tackle and make you punt. Now, what happens typically in this type of sticks coverage is when the ball declares, or in the case of what appears to be a draw, then they all drive it, like a bat out of hell. They just come. And so the idea was to get that to happen and then run behind them in flea-flicker action, and it worked. Except, we just didn't quite protect it the way we wanted. But you'll see it's a good way to attack this coverage, and I thought if we'd have executed it a little bit better, then we would have had an opportunity for a long score. So we were obviously blocking the 3. We kind of slipped him inside. The back kind of came up inside and then flipped it back to Eli, and then he would have made the throw. So, obviously it didn't get a chance to get launched, but you can see the action of this. And for this coverage to attack this type of coverage, because they see the ball declared and you see them all running, we end up getting 2 guys behind the defense, especially number 1 where we're trying to throw it.
You freeze it there, Coach. He's behind everybody and running, so there's no catching if that ball goes there.
Just quickly about the Dolphins. This is a team that we know what their record is, but after the first few weeks, once things settle down, they play hard, don't they?
Yeah, they play really hard. I think both of our teams are very similar in a lot of ways. They're trying to find themselves and establish who they are with a bunch of different pieces, much like we are. So it's going to be a battle. They play extremely hard. They've got a gritty quarterback that keeps them in it all the way through it, and we got to do a really good job to win this Sunday.
Hey, look, this is a Dolphins team you got to watch out for. Despite the fact they only have 3 wins, they play hard under Brian Flores and they compete.
And that's the thing that I'm going to be watching this week when the Giants are playing Miami. Flores has done an outstanding job. Earlier in the season, there are guys who wanted out, so he got those guys out. Now he's got the players in that want to be there. And I think he's doing a very good job. So this is going to be another test. They played the Jets here last week. They know what the weather is going to be all about. So that's not going to be in favor of the Giants this week.
And, Carl, they moved up and down the field against the Jets. Their kicker kicked 7 field goals. They were 0 for 6 in the red zone. It's not as if Miami didn't move the ball. They just couldn't get it in the end zone. So the Giants better be on their P's and Q's. One slip up, you give up a touchdown, could be the difference.
Well, it's the battle of bad teams, but there's a thing called worse and a thing called worser. And you can't be the worser team in this one because the Dolphins are focused on execution. They may not have the talent across the board to be better, but they're doing the things that it takes so when they get better, they'll be better, and the Giants cannot fall asleep.
Hey Giants fans, Saquon Barkley here. You want to see more videos? Subscribe below.